This video will present an introduction to the Aramaic language. As you no doubt already know, Aramaic together with Hebrew belong to a larger group of Semitic languages, which are distributed originally geographically across the Near East. And they are divided up into various subgroups. This is just sort of one example: Northwest Semitic, Northeast Semitic, Southwest Semitic, and Southeast Semitic. For our purposes here, the most important group to look at is Northwest Semitic. And within Northwest Semitic, scholars generally divide the various languages into two groups: Aramaic, which has a geographic spread from, say, southern Turkey, northern Syria, and maybe what would be western Iraq today, whereas Canaanite is closer to the coast, places that today would be, coastal Syria, Lebanon, Israel, Jordan, and those areas. Within the Canaanite group, we find Hebrew, Phoenician, Ammonite, Moabite, Edomite. Some people put Ugaritic there, but increasingly that has become uncommon. And just to sort of round out the picture, we have the various Akkadian dialects, whether Assyrian, Babylonian, and others, spoken in the area of what is now Iraq. There is Southwest Semitic, Arabic, and Southeast Semitic, South Arabic, and Ethiopic. So all of these languages have many things in common, and so are put into this particular language group. And the various close relationships are to some degree disputed, but this gives you sort of a general idea. Now, Aramaic was the primary international language of literature and communication throughout the Near East from about 600 BCE to 700 CE. And it is a major spoken language of Palestine, Syria, and Mesopotamia during the time that Christianity and Rabbinic Judaism are being formed. Late Biblical Hebrew and Rabbinic Hebrew were influenced by Aramaic, and the New Testament writings, even though to be clear they are not translated from Aramaic, show a certain likeness to Aramaic diction, to the basic syntax and order of words. And of course, many of the people involved in the New Testament story would have been speaking Aramaic. The various stages that we can see of Aramaic include Old Aramaic. This is from the earliest attested inscriptions up to about 612 BCE. I think the earliest inscriptions we have are about 9th century BCE. And Old Aramaic was adopted as an international language in the late Neo-Assyrian Empire and became dispersed throughout the Middle East because of the Assyrian policies of deportation. It was used also by the Persian Empire in their western provinces. Now, this period of Imperial Aramaic, which is from about 612 to 200 BCE, includes texts by Neo-Babylonians and Persians, and many put the letters of Ezra into this group. Middle Aramaic then goes up to about 250 CE, as spoken Aramaic develops into dialects written in a standard literary style and used commonly in some areas, even though in the Roman Empire, Greek has replaced Aramaic as the international language. Some put Daniel in this category, although Rosenthal puts Daniel into Imperial Aramaic. And then finally, there's late Aramaic up to about 1200 CE. This includes Palestinian, Syrian, and Babylonian dialects of Aramaic. John's groups the various Aramaic dialects, and this would be a little bit later period, perhaps beginning around the time of the composition of Daniel, but definitely later on, into West Aramaic and East Aramaic. And here we have Palestinian Jewish Aramaic, which includes the Targums and the Jerusalem Talmud. Now, the Targums are translations of the Hebrew Bible into Aramaic. This becomes very, very common. The earliest one that we know of is the Job Targum, found at Qumran among the Dead Sea Scrolls. There's also Palestinian Christian Aramaic, Samaritan Aramaic, Palmyrene, and Nabatean, whose offshoot is modern Aramaic, which is still spoken by about perhaps 600,000 people worldwide. And then there are a lot of other smaller dialects. Among East Aramaic, there's that found in the north, which is the Syriac. Some people put biblical Aramaic in here. Syriac is the language used in the Syrian Orthodox Church for their liturgy. Southeast Aramaic would include the Babylonian Talmud and writings that have been found in Mandean.